Okay. Hi, hello, my 3 subscribers, evidently. Um, my name is Eden, and today I actually have the audio recording because last take, I didn't record it, which is actually okay because last take I didn't include like a lot of the freaking points that were pertaining to the title. Stop being a therian. Um, in which I find that phrase very interesting. So I'm gonna talk about it on the freaking podcast esque thing, episode 2, I think this is. Anyway, so this was sparked by a Tumblr post, as things usually are. Um, so I'm going to read the original Tumblr post and then my additions and then more of my additions that pertain to the title. So, yeah. Original post. I feel like folks need to talk more about types fading. Types as in kin types, stereotypes, that thing. We grow up, we change, and we figure out our identity more. That doesn't mean that what we experienced wasn't real. That type helped us understand ourselves more, and we simply no longer connect with it, and that's okay. I recently lost my connection to Cloudjumper and no longer feel that I am him. I still love him dearly, and what he represented to me as I was discovering my fishing identity will always be important. I think with all the younger ultrahumans joining online spaces, there's a heavy want to know exactly who you are right at the start. That's not how identity works. It takes a lot of time, and you're gonna make mistakes. The internet has made it The internet has made it really easy for others to shame individuals who haven't fully figured out their types or changed their types. You're growing and changing, so your types will change too. Something might fit right now, but one day you may find out about a creature that represents you more, so that connection to the old type fades. That doesn't make the new type or the old type more or less valid than the other. Take your time. There's no rush to finding out who you are. Freaking applaud. And that's so true. That is actually so true. Alright. And now, with my addition. Okay. So, especially with something as confusing and no, quotes, because I'm pretty sure the experience. Oh, yeah. When I do like this, I mean, it's in parentheses because I use parentheses too much. Quotes because I'm pretty sure the experiences have been around for a while, but it recently got a word to describe it that's a word to describe it that's like a little bit more well known. Something confusing and new as therianthropy. Obviously, one isn't going to awaken and suddenly know everything and every word about how they feel and what/who they are. I've only awakened around 2 years ago, autumn of 2024. And 2 years is not feasible to have figured out everything. Like, yeah. Because, for example, and, this is a different part of my identity, but the figuring out still, it relates. So, I am transgender and non-binary, and I started exploring that, like, 4 years ago? Something like that. And I'm still trying to figure things out. I mean, right now I'm pretty cozy, but hey, things change. Yeah. Alright. And in the wider scheme of identity, it's okay to drop labels. You can, technically, stop being a therian, though most people mean it in a hateful way, like this needs to stop, or a hobby way, like, oh yeah, it was fun, but I just kind of, got disinterested, sort of thing. Yeah, I'm sure that you've heard that around somewhere, on social media. Anyway, which is a whole other tin of fish that I'll talk about sometime. This is the time. Okay, parentheses. Because I think a lot of people don't see the separation between labels and experiences, in which labels are optional, experiences are most often not. In the case of other links and otherwise voluntary identities, it gets a bit more complicated since that's a label and experience that is chosen. Okay. Also, I think a lot of people see therian as more of a hobby label because, TikTok did the thing. And when people see, okay, this is not a part of the post, but when people see like a sort of hobby-ish looking thing, they would probably assume that it's voluntary in some sort of way. So, yeah. And therefore, it led to a whole lot of miscommunication and misinformation within the community about definitions and such. End of parentheses. But yes, at the end of the day, you can realize a label isn't for you. Whether it be because it was literally not for you, oh my god, parentheses again, as in your experiences didn't match up with what the label entails, or from it simply fading, it's normal. It's normal that not every label you pick up will be held for the rest of your life. And I think I phrased that pretty eloquently. So yeah. Freaking wow. And now that's the end of the scripted part. And now I'm just gonna be talking about what is it? Okay. I have notes for this. It's just unedited. Okay. Hold up. Okay. So perhaps I don't know. A bit of a controversial opinion, but lowkey. Okay, I shouldn't say lowkey in my freaking videos. It's just kind of like not it. I think when it comes to other links, chosen therians, in which there's some things with that chosen therians, sort of thing, but gosh, there's a whole controversy about the chosen therians label, but when it comes to separating voluntary and involuntary involuntary and involuntary experiences, god damn it, I just said the same thing. Okay, identities, labels, I think it's kind of not that bad if you blend it a little bit, because at the end of the day, if you're other linking, let's say, I don't know, like a non-human animal, as one would usually do, and for example, you have another kin type in which is involuntary, and then those experiences are actually pretty similar. For example, I've found that my involuntary and voluntary experiences are actually pretty similar. And so I think at the end of the day, if the experiences are similar, then I feel like the labels can get a little bit closer if you would like. Yet again, it's a choice thing because yeah, labels are optional. So, Okay. But okay. Obviously, freaking too much blending can really not be good because like I said earlier with the hobbies thing, if you turn it into a fully voluntary funsies, hobbies way, then that's not good, as we've seen, evidently. And obviously, if you're mixing things other-hearted, hello, hi, I'm also that, and therian, or, any of the identify as rather than with sort of identities and labels, then that's like not good, because those are two experiences that are different a lot of the time. And yeah, in that case, like keeping the separation is actually important, because then otherwise it's just like what, like 4 or 5 words for one thing, and that's just not what it was intended for. So yeah, and also like therians and therianthropy. Ooh, holy, I need to drink water. Anyway, have gotten sort of TikTokified, so therefore popularized, and therefore a lot of the lesser known labels continue to be lesser known, because now people are really blending the freaking definitions between other-hearteds and therians, and it's like, ah, guys, like it's literally not the same. It's literally not the same. Please, uh, talk to other-hearted people, and perhaps learn about other-hearted experiences, because it really is like interesting. Yeah, it really is interesting, and like exploring other-heartedness as a concept in which I could like be has really helped, because, well, I mean, yeah, it just kind of explained like, well, I really, like really, am related to this thing, but it's like, I'm not really like it per se. Like, it's me, but I'm not it. If if that makes sense. I don't know. Oh yeah, also other-hearted sort of things I feel like are a bit more weirder, a bit like, yeah, a bit weirder to explain, cuz like sort of delves into like the your sense of self and what makes up you, and obviously with the identify as, then that's like you are that in whatever way, which levels. And I feel like that's pretty, yeah, that's pretty like, oh, I don't want to say easy, because obviously like these identities can be very personal and very important, but it kind of is easier to understand, like, oh yeah, this thing is me, rather than, oh yeah, this thing is me, but I'm not really it. But also it kind of is me, and I kind of want to be represented by it like all the time, anytime chance I get. Um which is low-key how I feel with the color purple. Hey, I love purple. Literally always have, literally is me. Anyway, alright, I do have another thing written down, which is like, okay, potentially another sort of controversial little thing, but perhaps, the, like, a big freaking point of the, like, specifying the involuntariness of therians, and therianthropy, is like a sort of like, we didn't choose to be this way. We didn't choose to be these freaks. Okay. It's sort of just like, I don't know, it kind of is like a little bit pandering to, yeah, I don't know. In some cases, like, some people really, like, when they really lather it on, that's like, involuntary, we don't choose this to be this way. Then it's like, okay, yeah, you're pandering. You're literally pandering. Meanwhile, with, like, other links and voluntary, experiences plus identities plus labels, then it's like, well, actually, I did choose to be a weirdo freak. So, how about that? In which, lowkey, other linking is really cool, and I feel like a lot more people would do it, because I mean it can be very beneficial, and oh, okay, ominous thunking noise. Anyway, it can be very beneficial towards like, you know, figuring out you and things of that sort. It's just like a lot of people are like, well, this isn't actually, but, and they kind of like mention it as like a sort of side note. It's just kind of, I don't know, it kind of pisses me off, but yeah, okay, I think that's the end of the video. I ran through all the freaking topics, and goodness, 16 minutes. That is youch. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, possibly, and at least tolerated me. Have a lovely time zone, and remember to stay weird, stay wild, and stay you. Bye.